Happy holidays, comrades, and welcome to the last new book of the year. We're finishing up 2022 with A Holly Jolly Diwali by Sonya Lalli. Join us as we follow our heroine Niki, a gal with an incredibly active, incredibly horny imagination, as she travels around the world and back again, fucks around, and finds love with her sexy bass player hero Sam. Let me also send out one last reminder to check out our holiday merch. It's only available, again, until the end of the month, so get it soon. Also, as of the recording of this intro, the HarperCollins workers are still striking as they fight for a fair contract, higher pay in one of the most expensive cities in the world, and greater diversity in publishing. We've linked their page below, so please support the people who make your favorite books possible in whatever way you can. We hope you have a cozy and bright end to the year and enjoy the show.
Oh, the cheetah clogs.
Horrible.
My boss complimented them today. So my plan, I thought it might have to be gradual. My plan to make them workwear has 100% succeeded. Listen, cheetah prints in.
I know. It's been in for like 15 years and I've always hated it. I hate animal
No,
prints
I don't like
so
it either.
much.
I just thought these were really funny. No, it has not been in for 15 years. It was in like maybe 15 years ago and then like not really for a while.
But like there's always been like zebra print was in like 10 years ago
but
and now it's like out. I know now it's out.
Yeah.
But I'm saying
yeah.
it's just replaced with different animal prints. You know what I mean? Like one animal print will be in the thing. So it's like zebra and then like cheetah and then like snake skin and like whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like snakeskin is always like sort of okay. It depends on
well, it depends. Like, you know, like I'm not talking about like a snakeskin purse or like, you know, like snakeskin, like a snakeskin
like a jacket
shirt
or boots or something.
Yeah, like a snakeskin jacket is not always going to be in style.
Yeah. Anyway, these clogs are like $150 and I got them for $14.99. So.
And she's not going to say where so that none of you schlubs discover
it's from
her
Salvation
secret
Army.
Yeah,
but I won't tell you which one. But anyway, I did finally find the best Salvation Army in this city. And I think it explains why all the other thrift stores in the city are so bad because all the good clothes are like funneled to this one, it seems like. No, it's like definitely curated and it's like very well like all the clothes are very well sorted and labeled and like it's very easy to shop at compared. It's not like chaotic at all. And like I feel like the prices felt a little bit more than your typical Salvation Army, but like it was still obviously it wasn't crazy. So like, it might actually be like I don't know, was it the name? It didn't like say anything in the name that it wasn't like Salvation Army Select or something, but I don't know.
I thought I talked you out of them and then you managed to find them at Salvation Army.
No, they're great. I'm so happy I bought them. They do hurt my tarsal boss a little bit, but it's just like really rude that they even make shoes like that. Like why? I guess I don't know if it's rude of the shoes or rude of my feet, but like.
Oh, good news. So listener, my brother and I both have those like UGG slippers that are super popular right now.
Excellent.
And Rachel asked for hers for Christmas, also black, so that she can match us.
That's
my brother, to be fair, it was our brother. It was Stefan.
He's been wearing them for like a year.
Like
yeah,
he's the
absolutely.
trendsetter. And then I like just kept using like if I needed to run outside, I would just slide them on.
No, they're really
and
nice.
I was like, these are really comfortable and cozy, and I want some. And they are. I highly recommend. But good news, I found them, so they're like sold out everywhere, listener, like literally like on the UGG website, like every like place that sells shoes is like sold out. And I bought them from Amazon because it had like the earliest like projected delivery date. And good news, I got an email this morning that said instead of being delivered January 7th, which is when you are not going to be here, they're now being delivered December 29th or 30th. So you will be here.
But not on Christmas? Oh, that's sad.
Not well. It's already been moved up once.
Yeah.
It depends on when they get stock. You know what I mean? Like it's not the shipping that's the problem.
Have you been checking? Keep checking the UGG store too, because I bet like for Christmas they would restock. Wait, you realize that those clogs are like the exact same as my cheetah ones, like the shape wise. They're both clogs.
They're slippers though.
No, I know, and they're not going to hurt my tarsal boss, which is nice. Yeah, no, I definitely would have gotten. I prefer the tan ones in general, but I had to get black to match.
I
I've never
just
had
wanted
black
to be able
Uggs
to wear
before.
them, like, I don't know. I feel like my tan Uggs always got dirty so quickly. Like they got like grubby looking really
I don't know. My
quickly.
boots are fine. They do, but I think we just put the waterproofing spray on it. I have some from like another gift I got of like suede
No, I
boots.
have
We should
waterproofing
spray. You can
spray. I'm
spray
just
that if you.
thinking
Oh,
back
you
to like
do?
middle school.
Oh,
I
sure. I
think
never
I
had
do
tan Uggs in
somewhere in
middle
my
school.
apartment stuff. I would have to like
Oh,
look.
well, I have it. It should be in my closet.
Oh, I also have a book recommendation. It's not romance, but you like high fantasy. This is technically sci-fi, but it feels very fantasy. Like it takes place in space and like in the future, but like it's about necromancers. So it's called Gideon the Ninth, and it's actually sapphic. I haven't actually gotten to that part, but like you know which characters are. So like it's not romance, and it definitely does not. It's like the first book in a series, and like the romance portion of it in this book, I have already had it spoiled for me. Like does not end in HEA, but it's really good and it's like funny. Like I
Mm.
actually laugh out loud. Like the voice, like I feel like I haven't read like a book that had such a strong voice since like the experience of reading like Percy Jackson in the 5th grade. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's
Yeah.
not YA, like it's adult, but yeah, like and it's like actually funny. Like I've like laughed out loud many a time, and the audiobook narrator is really good.
Nice.
But it's
Okay.
also like 20 hours long, so it's really taking me a long time to
Right,
get through it. Maybe not. It's like
yeah.
15. So I'm like,
Mm,
even at 2 times speed, I'm like, this is like I have to listen to basically a whole regular book to finish
yeah.
this one.
No, and
But
also I'm
I
like
really
basically
liked
back.
it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm basically back to not reading for fun anymore currently. Like
Mm.
barely read for this. Like I barely have time to read for this. Okay. So, this book today is called Holly Jolly Diwali.
A
And
Holly Jolly Diwali.
I didn't know that. A Holly
And
Jolly Diwali.
it's Diwali, I think. But like I'm definitely not there's definitely an accent that I
I'm sure
like
it's not
as an
exactly how we're
English.
saying it, but that's how
No, but
the
it was
audiobook
definitely
narrator
the
was saying
audiobook
it.
narrator was saying it more like a V than a W. I
Oh.
like wrote it down. It's like the first note that I wrote that she says like Dival, like it's kind of like remember in the Charm Offenses, like the Charm Offensive, like Dave, like it's not Dave, it's DV, but it's
Mhm.
not Dev.
Mhm.
Like it's like an accent that like we can't really
Mhm.
do. I think
Mhm.
it's like that. It's like not quite V, but similar.
Mhm. Diwali. Well, Vivian, yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the author? I
Sonya
never.
Lalli. I literally just looked it up on Goodreads because I was like,
Okay,
I just
good.
realized I don't know who the author
I know. I don't know how we never
So, oh,
like.
Sonya. Is it Sonya or Sonya?
I don't know. How's it
That
spelled?
name. Sonya. I feel like that's one of
Probably
those
just
names like
depends.
Helena or Helena. Like,
Yeah, Sonya. Yeah, I don't know. You could
yeah.
ask her. You could probably find it. Oh, I like her haircut. No, like she has
Yeah.
like long hair in some of her pictures, but then there's one where she got like a short haircut. I'm into it.
Uh-huh.
Good for you, Sonya.
Yes. So it's in I think it's Barris Bones. It is technically, as the title implies, like a mix of like it's like the holiday season and a mix of like Diwali and Christmas time. But neither of those really features that heavily. Like I feel like this book could really take
No.
place at any time of year.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the ending is on Christmas technically.
But like it didn't
But
have to
like
be, you know.
no, it didn't have to be. No. No, but it's fun, and I think, like, it's more of, like, a vacation, like, I would say it's like a vacation trip,
Yeah.
like, getting to go like, she travels, like, all around India, and yeah, and we just, like, get this feeling of, like, traveling, because she literally is
Yeah.
traveling to cool new places.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like the
Mhm.
jet setting for all you folks that go on your holiday cruises.
She's not a cruise,
Stuff like that. It's
thank
not a
God,
cruise,
but
but like going to a
no.
bunch of different places, like constantly just bouncing around. Yeah.
So our big character is named Niki. She lives with her parents. She's 28, right? 27, 28,
29. 29.
29. Okay, sorry. And she lives with her parents to save money. She's a data analyst and she has an older sister named Jasmine.
And basically the dynamic is that like Niki is like the perfect child, the quote unquote perfect child. Like she never wants to disappoint her parents. She got like the safe job. She like has never really taken any risks. And Jasmine is like the rebel child or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so like Niki feels pressured even more to be like the perfect child because like She's literally heard her parents like crying about like stuff that Jasmine does. Like she's like stood on the other side of their door and like listen. Like that is something explicitly that we get where
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
ooh, damn, that's some trauma right there.
Yeah. So her parents, like, come to talk to her, and at first she just, like, assumes it'll be something about Jasmine. And, like, the way that this was, like, I was like, "Oh, so Jasmine's, like, gonna be addicted to drugs or something, like, that's what it is." And, like, no. I mean, but
She
again,
just
I
like
get it. It's, like, just strict yeah. But and they're basically but instead they're like, "It's Saturday night. Why are you home? Like, why are you such a loser?"
I felt so
They're
called
like
out.
yeah, I know. They're like, "Have you heard of these new things called dating apps? Have you heard of these apps?" And she's like, "Yes, we have." She's like, "I don't like meeting people online." I'm like, "All right, girl, like, good luck with that." Like
I mean, she doesn't need to.
and she's like, "Yeah, wow, this is really annoying because like, it just went straight from, like, no boys ever, like, when you're in high school, college, to, like, just one day the switch flips and it's like, well, why aren't you married?" Like,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
like, yeah.
yeah.
Get
They're like, "Do you want
yeah.
us to set you up?" But, like, they're not like,
Mhm.
we're gonna get a matchmaker or anything. Like, they're just like, "Stop being such a loser, maybe, like, do something with your life."
Well, they offered to, like, set her up with someone in their, like, social circle.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, like, she lives at home and doesn't have a social life, and I was like, "This is kind of, me, and I'm feeling called out, but also I don't think there's anything wrong with how I live my life." Yeah, so she goes to her boring work job the next day, and she's, like, getting coffee, and she does this thing where
Mm.
she, like, sees people and makes up, like, elaborate stories, like, about people, I guess, like,
Yeah.
lives vicariously through them, like, in her head, like, really, like,
Mhm.
immediately upon meeting people, she's like, "And then I imagined him, like."
Well, to be fair,
I'm
the Romeo and Juliet thing has been, like, for a while.
No,
She's
no, no,
been
but, like, she does it, like, other times in this
Mhm.
book where she just, like, immediately, like, comes up with a fake
Yeah.
scenario. Yeah, these 2 people she works with that she
That's,
calls
like,
Romeo
at
and
the
Juliet.
window. It's the coffee cart lady and the construction worker. She's like, "Oh, like, why don't they just get together?" Like, she's written, like, songs about them, we find out, which I think is really
Yeah!
funny.
But
Yeah.
then she has, like, Sex Street, like, she's making up, like, you know what I mean? It's not just like, "Oh, like, yeah,
Oh,
these 2
right.
anonymous people
Yeah.
named Romeo and Juliet, it would be so cute, like, they're clearly flirting with each other, like, ah, I'm so, like, invested," which is, like, normal, I feel like that's, like,
Mhm.
yeah, sure. Yeah, but then she, like, dives into the really, really detailed fantasy that starts getting, like she starts, like, imagining, like, I don't think she
Right. It's,
gets
like, on the
cut off
plane.
before we go to sex, but, like
Yeah, well, I forgot about this because it had been, like I read the beginning of this book, like, like, a week or 2
yeah,
ago,
a
and then,
while
like, we did
ago.
another book. Wow, yeah, I'm glad that, like, stopped being a thing, like, because then on the plane, she's
But
gonna be like,
she
"Next
does
to a
it
child." Yeah, anyway, we'll get to that.
yeah,
So
anyway.
she did tell her parents they could set her up with this guy, and so she's going on a lunch date with Raj,
But
and we get
first,
a
she
full
gets laid
description.
off. But first she gets laid off.
Oh,
Her
yeah, yeah,
boss calls her
sorry.
into her office and is like, "Hello, we have to fire some people, and you are the only one getting fired. Sorry about that.
Even
XOXO."
though you just got a promotion, and that's the reason you're getting fired because they're cutting all the
Yeah.
mid-level management, which is, like, horrible. And she's, like, I guess just indicative of, like, who she is as a like, right before this, she was like, "Oh, I double checked that I did everything I needed to do this morning, and I still have 20 whole minutes." And I'm like, "Ma'am, do you not have a cell phone?" Like, her first thought upon being fired is like, "Oh, tomorrow morning when my internal clock wakes me up at 6:30 AM, where am I supposed to go?" And I was like, "Okay, I hate you. Like, get out of
Can't
here."
relate.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
No.
I think I just, like, blocked that out because I was just like, "Can't
Yeah.
can't
Oh
relate,
my
Nikki,
god.
sorry." Although my internal clock does. Well, over towards the end of Thanksgiving break, I started being able to sleep in, but, like, for, like, the first, like, 75% of Thanksgiving break, I
Yeah,
woke up at, like, 9 every day.
but you never be yeah, 9, which you realize that to get
That's
to most
early for
jobs
me.
I know, I
I understand.
understand, but, like right, that's not like, that'd be amazing. Like, yeah, I understand, but also you'd never be like, "What am I supposed to do?
No.
What could I possibly do besides
No.
go like a robot to my horrible whatever." Okay,
Yeah.
so so she's, like, sobbing, but then she remembers that she has her fucking lunch date. And so she meets up with this guy, Raj,
Rush.
who's a doctor, and he's like, "Oh man, like I just travel all the time and I have a day off. Like, let's get sake drunk and go back to my place like after lunch." And she's like he
She
says
keeps
we could go
assuming
back to
he's
my
joking.
place. Yeah, he's like we could go back to my place and she's like, "Sure, do you have a condom?" I worried he wouldn't find my joke funny or worse, think I was serious. And I was like, but that doesn't sound like a joke though.
All
Like,
right, Bella
what?
Swan.
I know.
We got a
What are
Bella
you?
Swan here. I'm gonna be honest though, like Raj has a bunch of red flags, and like spoiler alert, you know, the red
He
flags really come to
sucks. Yeah.
fruition at the like he sucks. But like in the beginning, I was like, you know, because I was ready to accept, like, even though her interpretation of like him joking was like weird, I was like, I was ready to take it at face value that like it
Yeah.
was just banter. And so I was like, I like Raj. Why isn't he the hero?
Oh, yeah. No. Well, because she just like, because her whole thing is like, oh, I'm not like super into him, but he is like so right for me because our families know each other and like
Yeah. And he's
whatever.
like
So he was like
fun and
boring. So that's
nice.
what I thought it was
Yeah.
going to be like the like boring versus.
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of found I because of Raj's not I mean it's set up here, but like because of his like character assassination at this end of the book, I was like I finally understand how Team Jacob girlies feel. Like I
Mm.
finally understand the disappointment because this for like the majority of this book, I was like I don't know, I think Raj could come in,
Oh, wow.
even though the description said no.
Well, okay. Here's the thing that was about to be a huge red flag for the entire book for me is this Taylor Swift dig that like she kind of agrees to. Like he's like, oh, we're drunk. She's like, maybe we can ask them to turn up the music. And Raj is like, well, not this music. Raj grimaced. But then it's like, I scrunched up my nose. Taylor Swift wasn't everyone's cup of tea and decidedly mainstream. But I respected her talent and actually really loved this song. It's like, boo, boo. Like, ma'am.
She's like very like alt girl, we find out, like in terms of like her music. She had
Okay.
like a rock, a quote unquote. I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying I think that was like a shorthand for trying to like show like
No, and later on she does sing a song that she wrote about Romeo and Juliet set to quote a Taylor Swift
yes.
song. So
Yes,
I forgave
I did
her.
write that down.
I forgave her, but it's over for Raj.
It's over. You're like, you're done. You're done.
No, exactly. I was worried it was gonna have to be over for like this character, the main character, the author, everyone, but she redeemed herself.
Yeah.
So it's just Raj that takes the fall on this one.
So because she gets drunk, she like cries about how her sister like did quote unquote everything wrong, but like still has like such a great life. Like she has like a job that she loves and she's always traveling. Her boyfriend named Brian kind of sucks, but like not in like any like meaningful way. He's just kind of like
Yeah.
he's just kind of like
I was
Brian.
kept waiting for that to be relevant and it never
No,
was.
it wasn't. Except for I guess when they had their fight. But anyway, so
but,
she's like crying and then she's like, I did everything right and like my life sucks. And once again, I also felt attacked, like again. It's like it's very rude.
What, like I did everything wrong? Am I what?
No, not in comparison to you, but just the like I did everything right and I'm not like super satisfied with where my life is. Yeah, not like not the sister dynamic, but just like the millennial ennui dynamic.
Yeah. And she's like, okay, well, I guess like now that I'm fired, like Raj actually encourages her to do this. So her best friend from college is getting married and she lives in India. And
Mumbai.
Niki wasn't gonna go because again, like I don't know. I guess this is her whole like growth, but I'm like, girl, like just go to the fucking wedding. Like I don't know.
She like it wasn't even, she was like, I don't get many vacation days, but I don't even think it was because she couldn't have gotten time off. Like I think it was just like she was like, I didn't want to take time off.
She's like, I'm saving for a down payment for a house. And I'm like, okay, sure. But like you've never done any, like this is your allegedly best friend. And Dia's so nice about it. Like even though she says she's coming like literally like 2 weeks before the wedding, so last minute, which sure. But like
I guess when you're having a wedding with like 1,500 people,
for sure,
it's like not that hard to squeeze someone in.
Be in the bridal party pictures, like you know, right? Which I don't know, whatever. It's nice of her. Yeah, no, because the wedding is gonna have 1,500 people, which like I've been to Indian weddings, and I still just can't conceptualize writing down.
But have you been to an Indian wedding
Not this
in
big.
Mumbai?
No, this big. No, I'm saying like I have some sense of the scale, but it's just still so crazy to like hear that number written down.
So many. It's like everybody, like everyone that you have like spoken to in your life is invited to the wedding.
Yes, I guess.
And some people you haven't.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, but so Dia's super nice about it. She's like, of course we can squeeze you in. Like there's 1,500 people.
Whatever. We're gonna have extra food anyway.
Yeah. And so she tells her she's never been to India before because she's like, oh, my parents couldn't afford. By the time my parents could afford to take us, Jasmine and I were in high school and didn't want to go, which is crazy to me.
No, and like I
no,
get
I
it. Like
know.
in their like their I feel like the children of immigrants. So I mean, I never like really felt this, but it was like
We always wanted to go to Serbia. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. I think it was also because her whole theme for her is like there's like and I don't this isn't like I guess she just like comes to a place of self-acceptance, but like part of her journey is like oh, I'm not like Indian enough to like be Indian, but I'm like not American, like I'm like divorced from my culture, like my
Yeah,
parents didn't really teach us
definitely.
Punjabi or
Oh yeah,
anything.
her parents didn't
Which
teach
I
them
was like,
Punjabi.
oh.
I was like, you are way too forgiving with that, ma'am. Like, and I get it. You're being the bigger
Oh,
person. And for some of the things they explain away, like not taking them to India or like not letting them be a bigger part of like the Gurdwara that they go like living far from it for a good school
yeah.
district. Like, okay. But the speaking Punjabi, like there's no it's like her fucking Serbian citizenship. Like there was no cost to doing it.
No.
Like, in fact, it was
No.
probably really difficult for the parents to like speak a second language always at home.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm assuming, unless they grew up, I mean, it's possible the parents grew up speaking English also, but like, I don't know. Anyway, okay. So she's packing. Her mom gives her a bunch of like sweets to give out as gifts, which turns out to be a good idea. And she spends the first third of this book randomly springing the question on people like, why do we celebrate Diwali?
Yeah. And I still feel like I don't really have a grasp on this holiday.
And I think that was the point. I guess
to learn.
Because at first I was like, oh, like this is just for the reader. But then I was like, wait, maybe the author really doesn't know and is like showing that no one knows. Like unclear.
I mean, I'm assuming I'm sure because it is a very like like I think what did they say? It's like a Hindu holiday, but like it's
like
it's
lots
kind
of
of like
other people
Christmas where like
celebrate.
everybody a lot of
joins
people
in.
celebrate it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just funny.
But I wanted to learn about Diwali. I literally wrote like I like that we get to learn about Diwali, and then underneath it, we don't really get to learn about Diwali. I was like, I know it's like color and like it's like lights, right? Like that's it. Like is that the one where like you throw color bombs at each other?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Maybe that's a different one.
Yeah.
There's lights. Yeah, Diwali is like lights.
There's lights because her friend whose name that's Holy is the color. Because her friend Dia is like, it's celebrating me, like it's for me because my name means light. Anyway, Jasmine shows up. She's like, also they have like a sister cuddle session, and
when she's packing with her mom's like, here, like you should take some of my saris because like you like don't have any like for your outfit, and she's like, no, I just packed my little black dress, and I was like, ma'am,
yeah, I don't. Yeah,
you're gonna wear a little black dress to a 1,500 person Indian wedding? No.
She
in
definitely
India.
No, unclear. Yeah, no, she definitely has all that. You need like 4 different outfits. Like she definitely has.
No, I know.
All of them by the time she gets there, unclear. Yeah.
Her mom gives her a bunch of stuff. Like her mom convinced her there's like the yellow sari, which is the one that's on the cover.
Also, speaking of her being like, like talking down on Taylor Swift because she's just so alt. She's like, yeah, for the plane, I downloaded the entire discography of Lady Gaga, Kendrick, and Metric, which I'll give you that. I've never heard of Metric, but like, man, you're so not mainstream. You are such a hipster. You probably never heard of this band. It's called Lady Gaga and Kendrick. Anyway,
oh man, yeah. So on the plane, she watches Sex in the City.
Oh my
so, like,
god!
Again, and listen, there's nothing wrong with liking any of those things, but it's like don't shit on Taylor Swift for being basic and then turn around and watch Sex in the City.
Right. And speaking of the Sex in the City, she starts like having a sex fantasy. And there's a little kid sitting next to her and it's like, why are you watching porn? Which like in what world? I just don't I've never really watched that much Sex in the City, but like what part of it could ever be considered porn?
No, I think like no, because it was on like HBO, I think originally. So there are like when the characters have sex, like they have sex on screen and they are like, they do show like tits and stuff. Like I don't think it's like porn, but like for an 8-year-old.
Oh, sure. Okay. I just didn't know. Like, I was like, how is this like that detailed that you can?
Yeah.
Crazy. Oh
I also don't think this 8-year-old has a very strong understanding of what porn looks like.
Okay, sure. So. But also just the fact that she was like, was like getting into it. Like, I was like, ma'am, you're on a plane.
She was like leaning back into her seat, just having like I was like, she has such a vivid imagination. I mean, I guess that's also part of her character because like she constantly like
that's
immediately imagines the whole scenario and like
dedicates herself. Like, we'll get to that. But
anyway, she gets there. Her friend Dia picks her up personally, even though her wedding's in 1 week, which
just like in Crazy Rich Asians.
That's true. That's a good point.
And it's Crazy Rich
Fair
Asians.
enough.
Yeah.
Listen, fair enough.
And okay, so she lands in Mumbai, and we get a little like, you know, acknowledgement of British colonialism. We get that sprinkled in throughout. And I didn't know this. So Bombay is like the British mispronunciation of Mumbai. I thought Mumbai and Bombay were two completely different places. I didn't realize they were the same place, but with like different names. I thought they were two completely different places. So I was like, you learn something every day.
Wow. Yeah, and she's like, yeah, there's like inequality, like families living on the street, and Dia's like, inequality is everywhere, even in Seattle. Some countries are just better at hiding it, which like is true. But like
she also does have that realization later where she's like, so she's going to Dia's wedding, but she's also going to see some of her Punjabi relatives for like the first time. Like she's going to go stay with them for a little. Like she's never met any of them. And she does have a thought before she meets them where she's like, oh, like they, you know, I know like my parents were all farmers. They all came from like villagers. Like I feel so guilty about like having this privileged life in America. And then like Sam, the love interest who we're with, is kind of like checks her and is like, why are you automatically assuming their life is miserable? Like just because like can like chill out.
So she's staying with Dia and her parents. Okay, so I thought this whole time until the very end of the book that her and Dia were college roommates, right?
Were they not?
No, at the end of the book, she says something like, "Oh, Dia's so messy. Like it's a good thing we never lived together." Right, because like we have this scene. She's like, "Yeah, we're getting ready together in Dia's room, like old times." And I guess like technically, although I really never understood that when people, I don't know, I just feel like people will be like, "Oh yeah, let's get ready together before this like X event." And I'm like, okay, if I get ready together, you mean like hang out and like maybe drink, yes, but like it's just so much more work to like bring your stuff to someone else's house just to put on, like, I don't know, makeup takes me like 10 minutes max. Like it's not worth like lugging it over to like quote unquote
the only time
ready.
that I would do it is if like someone had like cool, like we wanted to do like cool makeup and I was like gonna have someone do it for me.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
If the makeup's already there, all bets are off. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if I have to bring my stuff all the way over there,
no,
like,
I don't
why?
want to bring my stuff because then I have to bring it back. I have to remember to bring it back.
Right, exactly. Like, yeah, I don't understand that. Anyway. They never lived together, just apparently.
And then it's Diwali. They celebrate Diwali, and she has like, and this is one of like many just like random moments where like she experiences like something bad, and it doesn't really have any lasting long-term effects. Like I'm curious as to like what you thought what purpose like these served, because she's in the bathroom during the Diwali
that was a big part of the book. It was in the discussion questions.
Oh, you listened to discussion?
I always listen to the discussion questions. No, that was a big part of the book.
Discussion questions, and I cackled, and then I promptly closed the audiobook and like took out my
headphones. This scene is a big part of the book. It keeps coming up too. I feel like it's all part of like accepting her. Yeah.
So okay, so she has a moment in the bathroom where like she's talking to an auntie who like is like judging her based on like the caste system and how her family is like, you know, from like a lower caste and like how she's like darker.
She's like, you better cover up. The sun's really strong here. Yeah.
Which is so that was like more prominent, but I felt like a lot of times in the book, like there's a moment later on where she's like followed on the street and like harassed, and like that was just like a bad experience that like I was like, oh, I'm sorry you experienced that, but I was like, you know, and there were like other like small instances where I was just like, I wonder like what I'm supposed to be getting from these.
Like, I don't know. And I didn't know if the author was just like trying to go on the defensive of like, because something I've heard a lot is like, it's hard to travel alone as a woman in India, right? I've heard that from like Indian people, not whatever. I don't know. I've never been to India, so I can't tell you personal experience, but I just wondered if she put that in so that people wouldn't be like, oh, why are you letting her, like, you're making it so unrealistic that like your main character gets to go to India. I don't know. And I thought this book, I don't know. I've seen like videos talking about how there's like different books written by like authors of color and some or immigrants or whatever, like people from different cultures. And it's like sometimes it's like written like for the audience of someone who like would understand what's going on. So they don't like over explain. It's not like Diwali is a festival of lights and we do this and blah, 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 right? And sometimes it's like it is that. It's very much catering to like the reader that's not. And this book, like I kept flip-flopping on what I thought it was. I thought it like sometimes did that. Most of the
Yeah.
time it didn't. But I didn't know if that was like somehow, I don't know.
I mean,
I don't
maybe it
know.
could be like how in season 2 of Bridgerton, right? How like there was
Right.
like the whole discussion of like, you know, people that really didn't
Right.
like the Kate Edwina dynamic, and then like people in like the Indian community were like, no, you
Oh,
don't understand, like this dynamic is something that's like a really big part of our culture, like, you know what I mean? It's like something that like you're just not going to
sure.
understand. And so like, you know, if I'm not the audience, that's fine. I
Well, right, but
certainly don't need to be the audience for every
I'm
book.
saying that thing of like the being followed or whatever, like that felt more like something that was like catering to the someone who wouldn't be familiar with it. But I don't know.
Well, see, I'd never heard that I mean, I haven't really spoken to anyone in depth about traveling to India ever, but like I've never like that's not advice that
Well,
like
right. So then that's so
that I
again,
would
so
know.
it's right, exactly. So it's catering to you.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. But I could
I don't know.
very much, I don't know. I have no idea why. I mean, just to make it like quote unquote realistic. I don't know. Like, I did look up the crime that she references and I regret it. I
Oh,
mean, I don't regret it, but it was very,
I knew what crime she was
Yeah.
referencing. I remember reading about that, and no.
Anyway,
So then we have a flashback. There's like,
a
are there
few of
only 2?
these,
There are 3,
at
like
least,
just
if
sprinkled
not, there are
throughout.
a bunch. There are like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very taken aback in this first flashback because I did not expect for there to be flashbacks.
Really?
And I'm going to be honest, like, I don't know how necessary they were because I feel like the main components were showing us Jasmine was the rebel, like, Niki feels divorced from her culture, and, like, Niki
Shah
is
Rukh
like
Khan, though. Listen, Shah Rukh
that
Khan. Listen.
that
It's
does come
critical
back.
just for that.
That's true. But like I feel like all of this is stuff that I already knew. Like I guess it was like
Well,
the author
it's like
trying to be
showing,
like
not
show don't
telling.
tell.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
But
So the flashback
yeah.
is just them going to, I think it's a wedding, an event.
Yeah, at a wedding.
And yeah, Jasmine's a rebel. She goes to the open bar, even though her parents are mad
Like
at her.
Stefan.
And and the
It's when we went
parent.
to this wedding and our brother, like our like 12-year-old brother, accidentally ordered.
No,
he
he didn't order anything. They were walking around with trays of it and just gave him
Yeah,
one.
they gave one to everybody, and then he was like,
yeah.
"Oh, a blue drink, like a blue like
It
juice."
looks,
I was like, "No, it was a fucking cocktail," and he drank like 3. He's like tipping over in his seat.
And his brain was never permanently altered. Anyway. So their parents have been saying they're too American. Like, why are they so American? It's like, because you raised us like that and are only starting to enforce these rules now that we're teenagers, which is so bold.
And she
the
does
parents admit
acknowledge
too.
that. She was like, I think her mom acknowledges that too.
Oh,
She
they
was,
do.
like, by the time,
Yeah, they
like,
apologize. Yeah. And then like she's talking to these other girls. She's only like really friends with, they're all better friends with each other because they all go to like events more often. They live nearby instead of like she lives far away. And they're all talking about like who's their favorite Bollywood actor. And she just like says one that's like really famous, Shah Rukh Khan. And she's like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Like that's everyone's favorite, you know?
Yeah.
And then they make fun of her for like, they're talking about food. And she says, I forget what ingredient, ajira, which I'm probably saying wrong. They all like make fun of her for like not
There's
having
like multiple
a good
pronunciations
accent.
that they like make fun of her for.
So back to the present. The mean auntie has left and Asha auntie comes in. And Asha auntie is like, God, that lady's a bitch. Like her children secretly go to therapy. And she's like, like, you know what? I have a son. And Niki's like, listen, like, whatever.
I don't know why, but I was like, it's the love interest. I was like, her son is going to be the love interest. And listener, it is. Her son is the love interest.
That's
because I just thought
I didn't think of that for some reason.
We already got that joke with the parents, so I was like, "There's a reason this joke is being used again."
Wait, what joke?
Like the parents trying to set you up with their kids, parents trying to set you up, and so I was like, "There's a reason this joke is coming back."
I don't know why I assumed the son was like not physically there. I was like, he's somewhere far away, and like she's only here on vacation, so she's never gonna be able to meet him. I don't like, but you were right because she hangs out with Asha all night. And then she's like eyeing up the band. There's like a live band, and she's eyeing up the main guy. He's like really cute, and then like he keeps looking back at her.
The bass guitarist
he's actually looking at his mom. Because
No,
that's
he
the
is
son.
looking at her.
No, I know.
But then, like, Ajna Auntie is like, oh, that's my son. And, like, Niki's like, oh my God. I thought he was, like, sexually, like, flirting with me with his eyeballs. And he was actually just looking at his mom.
Oh
And
my
she's like, I,
God.
like, actually want to leave now. She's like, I would like to never exist ever again. And I was like, me too.
But instead they flirt a little bit. She finds out he lives in London, but it's like here playing with like not his main band, like a different band than the band he has in London. And he tells her about how his mom like gave up. She was an actress, but which I thought was going to come back somehow. Like I thought she was going to like be discovered by Shah Rukh Khan. Anyway, that's not what happened.
I thought he was gonna know Shah Rukh Khan.
Yeah, or something, like some connection.
But don't
She was
worry,
an
guys. Shah Rukh
actress.
Khan does make an appearance.
She gave it all up to like follow the dad. And
He was like a
gave up
producer.
her
Like,
dreams.
he also worked in film.
Yeah, and he won't tell her his dad's name, which I thought was gonna meant like I thought the dad was gonna somehow be like Shah Rukh Khan, like some level, like really famous.
Yeah.
Right? Like that didn't come through either. I was like, why are you being so shady about like is the
Yeah,
name?
he
I guess
was like weirdly shady.
like won't say the name like Voldemort. Like I don't understand. And then Sam's like, do you want to go upstairs? And she's like, which again is not the same as Raj because he actually just means there's like a rooftop pool. But she's like, once again, like, oh, haha, you must be joking. Like,
But right before that, they're like sitting in a group with like Dia and like a bunch of like their friends because Sam is Dia's like childhood best friend, and like Niki was like, oh, like I'd heard of him, but his name is Samir, and so she was like, oh, like that's the same guy. Like I didn't realize like Sam and Samir were the same person, but like the rest of the group leaves to like go dance, and then like she like it's just the two of them and they're like bonding or whatever, and then she tries to stand up and she just like face plants. She just like trips completely.
wait, what? She does?
She trips. Yeah.
But this is
I
when
think
she
maybe
falls-
he can't. No. This is before they go up to the pool, and then he's like, "Want to go up to the pool?" But I just thought I was like,
oh my
like,
God,
of course, classic. This felt very much like it was being written as a rom-com movie. I felt like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it felt very much like
absolutely,
a movie.
Okay, I can see. Yeah, because the visuals were so strong. I feel like
Yeah,
because like
and
she
it was
describing,
very
the
like
cities and stuff. Yeah,
you know, there wasn't a lot of like long rambling, which is interesting
not
because
at
like
all.
the
Yeah.
conflict of this book is almost entirely internal.
Mhm.
But there wasn't a lot of internal
Wow.
like there
Yeah,
was because it's first
agonizing.
person, but like, you know, like it
Right.
wasn't shown on page. It was all like
Kind
or
of.
was it told on page? I guess it was all just shown.
I guess so. Yeah. So they go to the pool. She like ends up falling in the pool because he's like holding her. Unclear. It's somehow like his fault, but she is in the pool.
He's like holding her over the pool.
Yeah. Like and then fails. Like it's like a fucking like
well, no.
Scar and
They fail
Mufasa moment.
because the security guard comes and is like, "Hey,
Yeah,
you guys aren't supposed to be up here," and then he like is startled and drops her into the pool.
Yeah. And so like the next day she sleeps until noon. She talks to Dia about this. So she finds out that this is like Dia's friend Samir. And then like and then their cook Pinky has to be her tour guide. So I'm like, is she, and she also like saved her Sari from being destroyed by the pool. So I'm like, is she a cook? Is she a housekeeper? Like,
Yeah.
This woman is overworked.
She also Niki also thinks Sam's a player because she's like, oh, like he's in a band, like he's so hot, blah blah blah. So like when he tries to kiss her by the pool, she's like, no, you're a player, we can't.
Yeah.
And then the next day, like she's like, Dia, I can't. He's a player, and
he's
Dia's
like, listen, this man had a major glow up in like the past 6 months. Like it's one of those.
But yeah, she was like, he was super ugly as a kid. Like you do not have to worry about him. But also like they're like 30, so like I feel like it's been at least a few years, and I was like, I don't know. I feel like if you were like suddenly like get super hot, like that is definitely prime like territory to like potentially become a player, you know, because like suddenly when you're getting a bunch of attention.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it could go either way. That's true. I don't know. Yeah, because like in some ways you never really lose that like insecurity. I feel like.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I think you're right.
So like I was like I don't know, like Dia, like I believe you that he's not a player and that like Niki's just like being judgmental, but like your logic isn't really like lining up. Like something doesn't make sense here.
Yeah, I guess like he hasn't had a chance to be a player yet because he's so like Yeah, she hangs out with Pinky all day. She's still technically texting Raj this whole time. Like Raj is like sometimes like following up or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is kind of annoying.
Yeah. We also learned that Sam cut himself off financially from his parents to like pursue his dream of musician because he got like a business degree at UCLA and then was like, I'm going to pursue my dream as a musician.
And his dad's
was
like,
like, no,
you.
you're gonna go into this dream, like you're giving up your dream. And then he's like, I'm not giving up my dream, Dad. I'm giving up yours.
Which is bold because his dad is in the film industry, which like, I don't know. Like maybe he could be in something like stodgy in the film industry. Like, I don't know what that would be.
No, he's
but
like a producer. He's not like an actor.
How
like
do
he's
you
not
just like
a creative,
get into,
I don't think.
how do you just like get into being like you have to be already like really rich, I feel like, from something else. So like
Maybe
how I guess it's a business. I guess business. Yeah, that actually answers it. Business. That's why he wants to do business. But still, I was like, that's bold. Like film industry, and you're saying that music is too flighty. Like, okay, right? It's like I'm an actor. How dare you want to be in a band? Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's not. All right. She's like internet stalks him a little bit, finds his band, but like the website hasn't been updated in like a year. Which note that, file that away. Then she likes their music.
Dia's like, Sam asked for your number.
But I didn't give it to him because Raj or whatever. Or like because you said you didn't want to date him because he's a player. Like that was the right move, right? And Niki's like, yeah, absolutely. I'm not furious right now. Absolutely. And we found out at this group honeymoon to Goa, which Niki's not planning to go to originally because she's going to visit her family in Punjab and she doesn't want to like crash like Dia's close friend group, I guess. But
well, it's also like all couples, so like I understand not wanting to be like the only single person there.
Sure. Then she goes out. I forget where but she's on the street. She's followed by 4. This is what we were talking about before. She's followed by 4 like construction worker young men who like yell at her, and she has to like turn around and yell at them to get them to go away.
Yeah, and she's like she's like, imagine like it's broad daylight. Like imagine if it had been like at night. Like
or like somewhere secluded. Yeah.
And I was expecting like Sam to like come rescue her or something, you know, to like have like a hero moment, but that's not the case. No. I feel like this book was very much bordering on women's fiction in terms of like
maybe
it is like it's definitely a romance, but I'm saying like he didn't really have like I feel like he was good from the start. You know what I mean? He had like some self-confidence issues to like get over, but like
it was mainly the location thing, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't feel permanent because they live in different places.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't feel as like heavy as the ones that are, I don't know how to describe it. Like,
no, it was definitely like genre romance, but I felt like it was very, you know, we got a lot of time spent not with Sam.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. So then she sees Sam again at like another wedding event, which I think is a dance, some kind of dance. Like I think the wedding party is like dancing, which I think is a thing. Like I've heard of that. I forget what I don't know if they ever said what it was called in the book. But they talk again. And she finds out like Sam was supposed to come visit her and Dia in college one time, but like his college girlfriend didn't like Dia. But like Niki had also bailed that day because she was driving her ex to a StarCraft tournament, and they like really roast him for this. And like we later find out her ex like did really suck. But like, why are they judging him so much for like specifically the start? Like if you're in a StarCraft tournament, I don't know if he was a spectator or like competing, but that is like really hard.
Is a StarCraft tournament a real thing?
I'm sure it is. I mean, there's competitive gaming.
Oh, I assumed it was like she was just like making it like a Star Wars convention, but she didn't want to say Star Wars.
No, competitive gaming is a real thing because it's really hard.
Oh, I didn't realize it was gaming. I thought it was just like a convention.
Oh, no.
I know competitive gaming is a real thing.
Yeah,
Stefan could have gone into competitive gaming because he was like really highly ranked in League of Legends for a while.
Yeah, we have to be really, really good. And like,
I know, I'm saying Stefan was like climbing the ranks in League of Legends, like.
No, yeah, 2022, the High Octane StarCraft 2 tournament had a $500,000 prize pool.
Wow.
So, like, listen, there's a lot of reasons it turns out to roast this dude, but like, I don't think this is necessarily one of them.
Yeah, for like being a nerd, like, come on.
Like, yeah, I don't know.
Maybe he's like not that good. You know what I mean? So it's
sure. Like, I mean, he could just be going to watch, but still, like, it's like, why is that any different than being like, oh, I had to drive him to like a soccer game or something, or like a basketball game he's watching, or baseball, whatever. I didn't say football because that is actually objectively worse, but listen.
Well, and they both this is when like they both only had the one romantic partner.
Right.
And I kind of resent that hers was shitty and his was like good. ostensibly.
Oh yeah, we didn't really ever get background on his. Like I thought there was gonna be something dramatic, like why he's
No,
heartbroken.
he was just
over
like, we were
that.
together for like 5-6 years, and then like, you know, we like broke up, and like I took some time to recover
I thought
because
there was
like,
gonna be something there. Anyway, Sam keeps asking her like over and over to go to dinner, which would make me like be like, no, now we're not. Like I was gonna say yes, like, but you just keep asking and asking.
yeah,
Like,
like we've talked about that before. And then he steals her number from Dia's phone. And I was like, this is the only, like, Sam otherwise is like pretty much like, besides these two things, like Sam is like pretty like just like reasonable and like normal and chill like this whole book, I feel like, except for these two things. I was like, sir, she's like, they're like, he's like, come on, go to dinner. And she's like, no, like we live on the other side of the world from each other. And he's like, so? And I'm like, sir, that's a valid question for her to have.
Like, yeah, like really bold, sir. Yeah. So now it's time for the actual wedding. She's sitting at a table with like some aunties and some other people, and this white guy who calls himself Yogi Blake, or he's like, call me Yogi Blake. And he's
wait,
like,
right before, okay, I love Yogi Blake, but wait, right before she has a phone call with Jasmine where she's like, I don't know, do I pick Raj or Sam?
Yeah.
And Jasmine tells her to pick Raj, and I thought it was going to be some like reverse psychology thing where like she says the opposite to show like, oh, I was really disappointed that she said that.
Exactly, because then
but
she says
no,
that,
like Jasmine was really just like, no, pick Raj. Like, don't pick Sam.
Right. She's like, you don't have it in you to like not get hurt by this. And Niki gets mad.
Which,
She's like, well,
yeah.
I mean, you're right. Yeah, she's right. I also thought it was gonna be reverse psychology because she even said, like, because then Jasmine even says, like, oh, see, you were really disappointed. You wanted me to say to go for Sam. That just shows you'd be too attached.
Like, yeah. And then there's an event like the night before the wedding, and she's like looking for Sam but like can't find him, and she's like, oh, like guess our love story is over because like I can't find, he's not here, so like I'll never see him again. And I was like, you have his phone number. And this is like one of like a few occasions in which Niki's like, it's over. And I was like, you could easily contact this man. It would be so easy for you to contact this man right now.
I know. Like, okay, so at the wedding, I'm talking to Yogi Blake. Yogi Blake is being really obnoxious. And Sam comes over to like rescue her. Like at first I thought he was like hitting on her, but then I think he was just being annoying. Sam comes over and he's like, hey honey, should we go get the kids? And Yogi Blake is like, oh, you have kids. I've been thinking about writing a parenting book. And they're like, oh, how many kids do you have? He's like, none. But I was a child once. I was like, listen, fair enough. Fair enough.
This is right after he's like telling her about how he has a telescope, and she's like, oh, what about light pollution? And he's like, you can see the UFOs in the sky. I was like, I want Yogi Blake to come back. Like, I want him to just like randomly appear in the end. Like she's like grocery shopping and he's like, hey, how are you? Yogi Blake.
So they talk a little bit at the wedding, and then she starts throwing up, and he takes care of her, and it's really sweet. And his mom shows up too and takes care of her. And Sam's like, don't worry, everyone will just think you're the foreigner who drank too much at the wedding.
The drunk American.
The drunk American.
And he's like, he's joking. But I also had flashbacks to that time I was trying to make mac and cheese at my friend's house, and he has a gas stove, and I at the time had never used a gas stove in my life because I was in high school and we grew up with like an electric stove. Mm-hmm. And his like aunt, so I didn't know how to use a gas stove. I didn't know how to, I thought like I was like turning it and I was like, it wasn't turning on, so I was like, I didn't know you had to like, you know, wait for it to like light and so then scary. Whatever. Anyway, I was like, I don't know how to use a gas stove. It was like midnight. I'm like sober. Like I maybe had one drink that night, like hours before. His aunt's in the kitchen, and forevermore, this was years and years, this was like almost a decade ago, she actively dislikes me because she thinks that I was like that girl that was like so sloppy drunk that I didn't know how to use a stove.
Oh my God.
And I was like, no, I just don't know how to fucking use a stove.
No, I know I've said this before, but I'm terrified of gas stoves. Wait, if you like turn up the gas too much and then like it catches on fire, that can be an explosion, right? Like if someone had walked by with like a match for whatever reason or a cigarette at that moment when you had kept turning it up, the whole house could have exploded. Am I wrong?
I don't think
Why
so.
would you ever make a stove like that? And like,
I don't think that's
I just don't understand. And they're worse for your health. Like they're actively bad for your health.
Bad for your health.
So,
yeah.
like,
anyway, I've since lived in places with gas
that
stoves.
is added to the political platform. No gas stoves.
No gas. I fucking hate them. They're horrible.
They're horrible. They're
but
so
yeah, anyway, she
scary.
like literally 10 years later still actively. She likes all of his other friends. But I am like
this, and when the UK started getting rid of them, the suicide rate dropped like precipitously. That's not the only way they're bad for your health, but listen, can't stick your head in the oven. It's not gas. That's
against gas stoves. Thank you, Sylvia Plath.
Listen. So, but apparently they didn't even serve alcohol at this wedding, is what I was going to say, which
so he couldn't have been the drunk.
Very bold, but listen.
Also, while she was being sick, like I was having flashbacks. She gets like, it's like food poisoning or something is what they say it is. They're like, oh, all foreigners like get it like at least once, like the first time they eat like real Indian food.
No, not, she said once a year. It's like not being used to the water or whatever.
Yeah, but it's like the foreigner, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
And I just had flashbacks to Nicaragua when I got food poisoning, and it was just the worst 36 hours of my life. I was like me and you, Nikki, like we're in the same boat right now.
I mean, listen, like, I've had food poisoning. I had in the US, and it was bad. It was equally, no matter where you are.
I was on vacation. I had to fly home with food poisoning, Rachel.
Oh my God. I thought you got a little bit better. We're doing stuff.
I got a little bit better, but I still had severe stomach cramps and nausea. Like I wasn't throwing up anymore, but like it was still bad.
Yeah.
And then Stefan lost his passport, so I was like having food poisoning in U.S. immigration services while like they proved that he was a citizen.
In the windowless room that they put you in if you don't have your passport.
Yeah. Oh well, to be clear, listener, Rachel, me, and our mom had our passports. It was just our brother. So like horrible. Anyway.
Okay. So he takes care of her, and then he convinces her to go to Goa with him on the group honeymoon.
Because she realizes she's missed her flight to Punjab.
Oh, right.
And it takes her far too, this whole time, like when she wakes up and like they're having this conversation, she's drinking like ginger tea or whatever. I was like, wait, didn't you say you were flying out the day after the wedding? I was like, what happened? The flight. Nikki, the flight. And then she's finally like pages and pages later, oh no, I missed my flight. And I was like, thank you.
Like in a way it's better though, because like less time to be panicked if it's like when sun is done.
Yeah.
Because if she realized earlier, it's not like she could have done anything about it. Like she couldn't have gotten on the plane while like actively throwing up. So she's gonna stay with him, his like family's apartment in Goa, but his mom will be there too. She calls her parents to tell her this, and she lies to them. She's like, yeah, I'm going to stay with my friend Sam, but like makes it seem like Sam's a girl. And her parents are like, be careful. There are drinking clubs in India now. That's cute.
She comes out of the shower, like they're still in the hotel room. Like she doesn't have it. She's just in a towel. She doesn't have her clothes. And like her towel starts to slip and they're like, making out. And then he's like, oh, we can't. You're ill. We can't do anything right now. And she's like, wow, he's such a gentleman. And I was like, the bare minimum. The bare minimum. Don't make out with someone when she was puking the night before.
And they never have sex this entire book. Right?
They don't?
No, they don't. I don't think
I guess
do.
not.
It's not just closed door. It's like no door. Like,
I mean, she's constantly talking about how like, she's like dripping a little bit and she's like heat in her core, but like I don't think we get any
we never find out if Sam's even good. And she's like ready to
we
like
don't
move.
Get
She's makes it even more wild that she's like, I'm ready to move for this man. I don't know if he eats pussy or not, however,
yes,
we are willing. And I'm like, listen, girl.
So
she talks to Jasmine, and Jasmine's like, oh, like you're not listening to my advice, like I can't believe you do this or whatever. And somehow
Jasmine's being totally reasonable. She's like, hey, like you're being like, this isn't you.
Right. And then Nikki like somehow comes out that like, she's like, well, at least it's not some like dead end loser that none of us even like or something, like something really mean about Brian. And Jasmine's like, wait, you don't like Brian and it's been 3 years and you didn't tell me? And he's like, well, when people give you advice, it makes you do the opposite of like what they tell you. So you would have just like doubled down anyway. You always force your decisions on us. Like that is a bad quality, but also like, I don't know. Well, yeah, I don't know. And it's so hard. Like, I guess, yeah.
Like, anyway. Listen, I totally understand Nikki's resentment I think that it's misplaced. Like,
Oh,
obviously,
yeah.
like, she has, like, a unhealthy relationship with her parents. Like, I don't even know if it's on their side. Like, it's just really on her side, like, for the most part. Because, like, we don't really get any examples of them actively putting pressure on her. It's always stuff that, like, she sort of takes the initiative.
Well, I mean, the fact that they're, like, crying about her sister doing normal
Yes,
teenage
yes,
things and
yes.
deciding to, like, put these standards that they haven't, like, really.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But even before, even, like, when, anyway. So, like, I understand her resentment, but also, like, Jasmine's allowed to live her own life. Like, why should Jasmine make her life shittier just
Oh,
because
no,
Nikki, like,
absolutely. Oh,
has
no,
a
I was thinking
codependent relationship?
specifically about the, like, not telling her about Brian, whether Brian's bad or
Oh,
whether they
no,
don't like
yeah.
Brian.
Yeah, they should have told her. But then also, to be fair, Jasmine later confesses that she's like, I didn't like your boyfriend either, and I never told you. So, like,
Yeah. No,
kind of
well, it's
hypocritical of
hard.
me.
Yeah. Well, it's hard because, I mean, I think with family it's different, but, like, it's always hard to, like, know if you should tell someone you don't like their significant other because that could just that could just go so south. I guess it's like if it's
Well, I
someone you're
feel
really close
like,
with, I feel like you say it once and then not,
yeah.
like, but it's hard.
I mean,
I
correct
feel
me
like
if
what?
I'm wrong, but I feel like I've never been shy about telling you how I feel about people you're involved with.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So then Nikki, the next day, Jasmine's like ignoring her, giving the cold shoulder, and Nikki's like, I might have made an error.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I wrote it down. Wait, it's like because she's like, yeah, I had to be the one to live my life the way mom and dad wanted to make up for Jasmine. It's like it doesn't occur to her that like no one had to live their life the way they wanted.
Yeah.
They could have just. Yeah, I mean, I know you can't. I know it's not like just, but like
No, but
it's I
like,
get it's misplaced. It's like the parents imposing, like
yeah.
making them have these. Yeah, she tells her to go fuck herself. Yeah, the next day she's like, I feel really bad, but Jasmine's giving her the silent treatment.
Start the apartment.
Yeah, the
And she's like,
apartment.
shit, I may be developing feelings. Like, this
Yeah.
isn't going to be a fling. And she's still like, this is just going to be a fling. And I'm like, you're living at his parents' house. What?
Right.
Like,
and
his mom's
mom,
there.
or his mom, Asha, is being like super pushy. She's like, you guys should sleep in his room together. Like, don't worry, the walls are thick.
She's constantly
So
like,
bold.
I'm going to be gone for the afternoon,
And
just in case.
she finds out that Sam told his mom they kiss because he like tells her everything. And this never really becomes an issue. Like he does just continue telling his mom everything about their
Yeah.
relationship.
Well, Nikki really likes his mom. Nikki also really tells his mom
No, I get
everything.
it. Yeah, that's true, I guess. But like somehow the way it was like brought up, I expected it to be like an issue for some reason. Then they all go out with like the group honeymoon. They're at dinner. Some of the other bridesmaids are being like assholes to the waiter and like talking about how they wanted to fire their cook because she missed work because her daughter was in labor or something. And
Basically, like, the
Nikki,
rich people are
they're
being mean
assholes.
and rich,
Yeah.
and Nikki is like, be nice to poor people.
She's like, they're like, do you remember when we had that cook? And she's like, do you know what I remembered? My manners. And then we have
and
a flashback.
I was like, that was actually pretty good. Like, I didn't know where you were going with that, but I was like, that was
Right.
quippy. Like, good job,
That was
Nikki.
good. Yeah. I feel like not realistic to come up with that in the moment for me at least. But
No,
love it.
like, well done. No,
Yeah.
I was like, what is she going to remember? Like, what is it? Like, is she gonna, no, my manners. I was like, right to the point.
Remember that
Nice
I hate
one.
you. And then she has a flashback to like when Jasmine wanted them both to go to camp, but then their grandma in India breaks their hip. So then like Jasmine's like, oh, can we still not, like, I still want to go to camp. And the parents like, obviously they're like, we don't have the money, but like only Nikki picks up on it. And she's like, oh, actually, like, I didn't really want to go anyway. Like I wanted to go to this birthday party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is when Nikki actively, like, in this flashback is like, I've just had an awakening about money and like the
And like
financial
that
state of our
lies,
family.
sometimes lies keep a family together.
Yeah. She's 11, listener. She's 11 in this scene.
Right.
I was like, ooh, the trauma
Right.
is deep.
Yeah.
And then she plays the piano for Sam and Rachel. Rachel, what does she
Mhm.
play?
Well, Alison, this little guy, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, Debussy. Why is it always, they always say it like that? It's always Claire de Lune.
It's no. Did they specify Claire de Lune? Because I was
Yes.
ready to be like,
Absolutely,
we
they
get
did. I wrote it
Debussy
down.
mentioned
No.
several times.
No, they mentioned Claire de
Oh
Lune.
my God,
Absolutely.
classic.
And this is when she says that she wrote Romeo. She sings the song that she wrote for Romeo and Juliet to the tune of, quote, a popular Taylor Swift song.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And this is when they have the conversation about how like she's worried that she has a better life than her cousins. Like that's why she's nervous to visit them. Also like fair enough to be nervous about staying and visiting people that you've literally never met but are allegedly your family.
Yeah.
Like that would have been enough. But
No,
she's also like,
yeah.
yeah. And Sam's like, listen,
This is when she's like, oh, I feel guilty for growing up in America.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I mean, you're not white, but you're being kind of a little white savior here. Like,
right. Yeah.
you're giving me those vibes.
Then...
Oh, wait. Okay. So, I wrote this down at the Taylor Swift mention, the like love story Taylor Swift mention.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't happen in the book, but I was like listening to that gay Taylor Swift podcast I told you about. It's called The Archers Listener. And Rachel, you're like this. You know how you are always really annoyed by like Taylor Swift's weird pronoun thing? Like how she like switches she's like not consistent.
Yeah.
How like that's always kind of irked you. They were talking about that and like they made a very compelling case that like her weird pronoun thing is her just trying to hide the fact that she's gay.
I mean, I buy that, sure. She has stopped doing
like,
it
there
as
it
much.
is.
She hasn't really done it that much since like back in the day, I feel like.
But that's like they're like actually it's because she can't say she.
But she would always switch from like he to you is the thing.
Yeah, well that's what I think like you, they were like, oh, the yous are like her, like she's singing to the person she actually wants to, and then she has to like slip a he in at the end to be like, no, it's about a man.
No, but it usually
I don't know, it was interesting. Yeah.
Why not just do you always? Yeah, no, I'm sure there's a good case for it. But also the song that she writes Romeo and Juliet to better not be Love Story because that is literally already about Romeo and Juliet. So she just be like copying the entire song. It's gotta be a different song.
I was like, it's definitely Love Story.
Come on.
It's
like Bad Blood or something.
Here's my thing. No, here's my thing. I don't think you can't play Bad Blood on the piano.
Listen, absolutely you can. I don't any Taylor Swift song can be is acoustic. Like,
listen to me. I don't think this author is a Taylor Swift fan. I think she knows like Taylor Swift's greatest hits, maybe.
I know, that's
and
why
like
I
that's
said Bad
it.
Blood.
No, but I'm saying
Shake
I think like Love Story is like
right, but that's already about Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, I know. She was like, it's perfect. It's already about Romeo and Juliet.
I don't have to write a single thing. Wow. Listen, and then they're about to fuck for like the 10th time, and Asha Auntie comes in without knocking. God. So bold. They're like, we just hear the doorknob turning, which also bold of them to not lock the door.
She's coming in the front door. She's not coming into his room. They're like in the main part of the house. Like she's just coming to her home.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, never mind. And she's like, oh, you guys want to hang out? Or like, whatever.
Yeah, and they hang out. But Sam is talking about how he in London, how he used to live with a band, and now he lives with an accountant and his cat named Tipsy. Sam lives with a cat.
A cat. Excellent. So they hang out. Sam is, I forget what this was about, but I wrote it down. Like Sam's questioning her about something and once again won't let it go, which he does several times and it always annoyed me. Like where she just like obviously doesn't want to talk about something. He just keeps like pestering her about it. It's just so annoying. Like, yeah. I don't know. It's just like he just reminds me of a little like yappy dog at this point. And I'm like, chill out,
just
dude.
like Raj.
I mean, that absolutely means you're not getting, yeah, right? I'm like, that means you're not ever getting an answer to that question. And then they're on the beach and she's like, something about being tan. They have like another colorism conversation. Yeah. Because his mom told him about that in the bathroom.
She also learns that like she had been sending out job applications and she gets like 2 interview requests.
Right.
But she's like not excited. Like she realized she's like, oh, like I should be excited, but I'm not.
The number of times she says the word fling in this book. Off the charts. Insane. If there's a fling scale, listen, you've flung yourself straight out to outer space. Oh my god. You've pure flung into the outer solar system. What?
Sorry, I just realized that the pocket of these pants has a little pocket, has like not even a little, it's like basically the size of the whole pocket with a zipper. But the zipper is like so small and hidden that I haven't noticed it until now. Until I was like, wait, there's extra fabric in this pocket. Why is that? And it was because there's
what pants are they?
It's the Lululemon jogger. It's the one that just has the regular pockets.
The one that
aren't zipped. Wait, I think you may have these too.
Wait, are they the same ones that
There's a little pocket. It's the size of the whole pocket too.
No way.
It's just an extra pocket with a zipper.
Wait, now I want to go check if it's mine. Hold on. Wait,
they
this
have
just
it?
Made my day. Not even day. Holy shit. Wait, and it has another little pocket in that little pocket?
Wait, what?
Wait, there's another. That's what I first thought you were talking about.
There's an extra pocket. Oh my god, there's a little coin pocket inside the zipper's pocket.
This is amazing.
That's incredible.
I definitely like lost things in these pockets from sitting.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
This is a game changer.
Stop. Why wouldn't they
2
advertise
extra
this.
pockets.
Listen.
We just doubled the pockets of these pants. It's insane.
All right, here's the thing. We need
That
a Lululemon
never
product
happens.
placement
That
right
never
now.
happens with,
No, it
with
never
women's
does.
clothing. Like double the pockets.
Wow. No, but like, wow, the discovery. It's always less pocket space than you think there will be until suddenly.
Yeah.
Holy shit. All right, Lululemon, listen. We're your girls.
If you want us to sponsor. And listener, you may be thinking, Lululemon's very expensive. Like, why am I wasting money? But let me tell you, I bought 2 pairs of Lululemon joggers like 2 years ago now. And I've worn them. Like, if we were to divide the number of wears by the price, I would be paying like 1 cent per wear. Like, I literally wear them almost every day. It's just nonstop.
Oh my God.
Okay. So then Niki has a conversation with Dia about how like they had like an astrology reading like before the wedding, which is like a common thing, and how like the astrologer was like, you're barren and like the marriage will fail.
No. The wording they use is that the marriage will fail because Dia will never be able to have Mahir's children. And she's like, yeah, it seemed like he was saying it thinking he was saving Mahir's family. But I'm like, no, that sounds like it's not that she can't have children, and that she specifically won't be able to have Mahir's children. So she'd be the one who's being quote unquote saved if children are important to you. Right? Like really, it seems like it's Mahir's fault. And also this is never resolved either. Like this is unclear what this plot line's for also, unless it's just like,
oh, what was it?
It was like
because
it comes back, she's like, don't just do it because you're afraid. She's like, should I freeze my eggs?
Yeah.
And Niki's like, yeah, if you want, but like don't do it just because of this.
Yeah. Yeah. And Dia's like, I don't believe it. Like our families like don't believe it. We just did it because it's like tradition. But she's like, it's still hard not to like worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does come back. It's like she actively like mentions it. Like it's like with Dia and the astrologer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then they're all out at like some kind of poolside bar. And she gets a tray of shots for the group. And she's like, oh, LOL, like I'm known as the one who doesn't really drink or party that much in my college group chat. Like it would be funny if I got a picture of myself with this tray of shots to send to them. And there's this like middle-aged man, like uncle, who's like also at the bar. And she politely asks him like, hey, would you? And he's like, oh, of course. Like what, you want a picture, right? And she's like, yes. And then he takes a selfie. And she just looks confused. Like he's smiling. And she's like, oh, actually, like I wanted one of just me. Is that okay? And he's like, oh yeah, just laughing. And he's like, actually, like he does look pretty handsome for an older gentleman. And they're like talking, and like she tells him all about Sam. He's like, I work in the film industry. And she like turns to like go motion Sam at the group or whatever, and she's like, the whole group's staring at me. Like that's so weird.
Yeah.
So weird.
Wait. I think it is. You know how we were talking earlier? Like we thought Shah Rukh Khan we thought he was gonna like know her. It's Shah Rukh Khan, spoiler.
Yeah.
He was gonna know her mom, like his mom. But he like gives her life advice like about Sam and about her relationship, and he like knows it's Sam. So like the implication is that like I feel like there was a vibe in that conversation that he knew who Sam was, I guess like because of his mom. I don't know. I was like, is Shah Rukh Khan gonna come to the wedding? That's all I care about.
Right. Well, yeah, right? I don't know. Yeah. So and I just want to know, I forget if they like because he comes back over and then reintroduces himself to like the group and like whatever. And I just want to know, like, did she get a better picture with him? Because she's not even like smiling, right? Like, come on.
Yeah, I hope so. Because she goes back over and the group is like, do you know who you're just talking?
And they're like, let her, she'll get there. And
then like she makes eye contact with him across the bar, and like he sees that she realizes, and he like laughs.
I know.
He's like, mm-hmm.
It turns out he has a beard like for a role, like so that's probably why she didn't recognize him to begin with. So okay, so she goes and talks to Sam, and they go home, and once again they're about to.
No, she pushes him in the pool.
Oh yeah,
and then he falls in the pool as well.
Good.
And she falls in the pool. They all fall in the pool.
Oh, that she has to fall in twice. So it's not really
fair.
So they're going home and they're once again about to fuck. But they walk in the living room and it's his mom and also his dad sitting there.
Oh yeah, because his mom was like, I'm going to a dinner party tonight, so it'll be empty.
And this is like a huge shock because they don't really live together despite like claiming to still love each other. He's like, I'm not often invited here. And it's like super tense. And the mom's like, sorry, I didn't warn you. Like I invited him, but I didn't think he'd come. Like I just thought he should see you before you go back to London, whatever. And Sam like basically storms out. And Niki like talks to the dad and she's like, oh, he's a lot nicer like when Sam's not here. Like weird.
Yeah. And no, so they talk with Sam, Niki and Sam talk, and she's like, don't worry, like your dad may judge you, but like you succeeded. Like you're like in a band, like you have a successful career. And Sam is like, no, you don't understand. My band left me. And
A
you know,
year
this has
ago,
been being hinted at like throughout, like he's keeping
Mhm.
some sort of secret. He's like made some like shifty looks, but
Mhm.
he's just like very dramatic about
And he
it.
hasn't told anyone about it. Like no one else
Yeah.
knows. And she's basically like, your dad's never gonna respect you unless you respect yourself, like whatever. And they bond. And then the next day the dad has left.
And then she wants to fuck again. She actively is like, let's fuck.
Yeah.
And he's like, shh. Not tonight.
We have
time.
It's like,
she's
no,
like,
we literally
what?
don't.
And then because they're both like, oh, this is not a fling. We've both caught feelings.
She says,
but I'm also like,
no, wait, stop, back up, stop. I'm gonna deliver this if you're not gonna do it right.
Okay, sorry.
He's like, not tonight. We have time. And she's like, no, we don't. What are you talking about? And then he just like looks at her and she's like, this isn't a fling, is it? And he's like, no, it's not a fling. And she's like, oh, ha, 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 ha. Of course. Now that you said it, that makes it true. And they agree to like be together and he's going to come visit her in Seattle. Yeah. Like unclear.
But I was like, okay. This still doesn't explain why you can't bone. Like, just because it's not a fling, like just because you're you're now like deciding to pursue a serious relationship doesn't mean you can't bone.
Right.
Like, why can't you have sex?
Yeah, I guess it's because like I think he's like because my parents are in the same house, which like I guess fair enough. And
there are thick walls, Rachel. There are thick walls.
Okay, let me say no, there aren't.
That's what the mom says.
Oh yeah. So the mom here is like a good example. Like she's not like other moms in that.
Oh my god,
she actively like one of the reasons she's so on outs with the dad is that they always fight. Like she blames him for Sam not coming home more often, and they like always fight about that. So like at least there's that. Like she won't get a divorce, but they do like just literally not live together because of that.
Yeah, which like fair enough. Like divorce can be financially devastating. So if you guys are both fine with basically just like being separated, but like
right, yeah,
like whatever.
So she comes in the next morning to Sam and his mom chopping fruit and buttering toast, which for some reason was like a really nice visual for me. I was like, oh, I would love some chopped fruit and buttered toast, thank you. And the dad has already left. And like the mom Asha won't like look up at her, which I thought was gonna be because she was like crying or something, which she kind of is, because she's like, oh, you're leaving so soon. And they go like sightseeing, and see like architecture. And it's nice.
Yeah, they go tour this like old, like this like fancy house that was like from like the British time.
Portuguese.
And Sam like
it's Portuguese.
Okay. They're going on a tour, and Sam is like, oh, I'm sorry about this. And she's like, sorry about colonialism? And listener, I did laugh out loud at that. I was like, that's all right, Niki. You got 2 zingers in. Like, let's see if we can make it for 3. I was like, that's funny. All right.
And so like she's like, oh, I've been working up the nerve to tell him this like big decision that I made that I just don't know if I can keep it in.
Oh my god.
And the big decision is that she wants to move to London for him. And just straight up, she's like, I'm not gonna go visit my family in Punjab. I'm gonna go live with you in London.
I'm gonna get a visa. I'm already looking at jobs.
She's like, yeah, I thought through this like long distance relationship and it's just not gonna work. And I'm like, fair enough. But also, this is your conclusion. Like, all right, fair enough. And she wants to say, I love you. Listener, let me remind you, they haven't slept together yet. They have known each other for a week, which, par for the course. But listen, which I don't know if that makes it, actually, I take it back. I don't know if that makes it more or less reasonable. Like, as far as compared to like the regular timeline of a romance book. But whatever.
No,
you make your own. You make
well,
your own
her
calls.
whole thing is that she jumps in too quickly. Is that like the moment she develops feelings for someone, she immediately is like, well, that's it. We're getting married. Because like that was her whole thing with like her ex-boyfriend. And
See,
like that was the things that she like ignores red flags.
I don't think that was the takeaway from this, because with the ex-boyfriend, it was because she was like, well, our families are so similar, so he must be perfect, and like ignores, I guess, but like she's definitely, but her character, because her character flaw isn't being impulsive. Like then, she like talks. She's like, after this, she's like self-flagellating. She's like, oh, this is why we aren't impulsive. Like this, you should learn your lesson. Like how dare you? Like the one time.
I don't mean that she's impulsive. I feel like it's similar to her weird like fantasizing thing that she does. like where she like comes up with this whole like deep like world scenario with like all this like world building. Like I feel like that's like supposed to be also like something that she kind of does with relationships, and that she like is like she like imagines this whole like world and then like commits to it.
Maybe. I don't know though, because that doesn't really go with like. Yeah, maybe she like doesn't misplace. She doesn't have enough practice being impulsive. So
Yeah.
like the one time she does it, she's like, oh, stupid, stupid, stupid. Anyway, she comes in and to tell Sam, and Sam's like, oh, I saw your phone. Like, I promise I didn't mean to. Like, and she's like, oh, did you see Raj? Like, there's nothing. He's like, who's Raj? She's like, there's nothing there. There's nothing there.
Never
I'm glad
mind, never
that wasn't
mind.
the drama. Yeah, she's like, went on one date. She's like, no, I saw that you canceled one of your job interviews. Like, she's like, yeah. And he's like, I canceled them both actually. And he's like, that's great. Like, you should really hold out for a job you're really passionate about. And he gets really excited. And she's like, oh, I actually canceled because I want to look for a job and move to London with you. And Sam, quote, sat there like a limp noodle.
And this man very reasonably is like, you cannot move to London for me, ma'am.
Yeah, he's like, my mom left everything for my dad, and like, I can't be your dream. I'm not enough. Like, I'm not even sure if I should move back to London because like I don't have anything there. Like, my band's done, whatever.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna get a real job. And then he like talks about how his mom like never expected anything of him.
Wait,
Like
let me again. Your delivery's
Sorry.
off with this.
Sorry, didn't
She's
know
like,
we had a critic in the house.
He's like, yeah, it would make my mom happy if I moved back, and she's like, well, your mom wouldn't expect you to do that just to make you happy. Like, she doesn't expect that of you. Which, like, I don't know why she's pushing for this. Like, why is she willing to move to London but not to India to be with him? Like, I don't know. But and Sam's like, yeah, like she is so chill, isn't she? Like, she doesn't expect anything of me. She's so chill. She wasn't like that with my older brother and sister. She expected a lot from them and got exactly what she wanted. Now I'm just her little throwaway child who can do no wrong. And my siblings resent me the same way you resent, like, Jasmine, it's implied.
Yeah.
Sam had the audacity to laugh at me, which honestly, yeah, the audacity. He's like, we'll figure this out. Ha ha ha. It's like, no, we don't. And she's like, we can either end it now or we can end it a year from now after we put each other through hell. And I'm like, is she wrong? This is one of the rare times the wedge makes a lot of sense. Like,
yeah, listen, she's not wrong, but also him laughing is not wrong. If someone was like, yes, we just met 2 weeks ago and I want to move to London, you know how she's always just assuming people are joking? I would assume she was joking. I'd be like, oh, that's funny. That's a funny joke. Wild. Like insane.
I don't know, because I really agree with her in this specific black and white thinking, because I think she's right. Like, in the real world, it's like you either say goodbye or you do just like jump in. Not that I'm saying you should jump in, but it's like it's the long distance without like any plan. What?
No, I don't think either of them are wrong, but I think her just being like, yep, all right, that's it. I'm going to move to London. Like, it's not like a conversation. She's like, this is what I'm like, you know,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I think they're both right in their own ways. And he's being totally reasonable here.
I think he's wrong to be like, no, it'll just work out. Don't worry. Like,
well, yeah, but like no, don't move to London for me.
Right. But the logical
Yeah.
Instead, we just break up. So we have another flashback to her only other ex-boyfriend, Gaurav. And it's like the night before his sister Sarah's wedding, and like his family is apparently like really bad at organizing, and she feels like she has to take over and like make them nail down everything that's gonna happen. And then she's like washing dishes with his sister after dinner, and he just like goes downstairs to watch TV and like doesn't help, and his dad doesn't help either. And she goes downstairs to like ask him to help, and she's like, I know he wasn't a good boyfriend because like he never, like, he basically just treats me like shit, but I love him. And Kurov's like, the last few months have just been a lot, so maybe you shouldn't come tomorrow. Like, he breaks up with her because I don't like. Yeah,
he doesn't want her to be in the pictures, and she's like,
oh yeah, because his mom was like, you'll be in the pictures, of course. And he's like, oh, she didn't ask me about that. But like, I just feel like it's really bold of this man to be like, yes, I do expect you to already do all the domestic labor for my family, despite the fact that we're not even married. Like, not that would make it better, but also it's just too much. Like, you're just doing too much of it.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, he
and
sucks.
she's like, I'd been willing to make the sacrifice, and Gaurav made it clear he was not.
And she's like, yeah, she has like a come to Jesus moment where she's like, yeah, wow, he sucks. All right, we're done. Except he still is the one that breaks up with her.
Right, exactly. It takes her a few months to realize that, I think. She's like, yeah, I jumped right into it. Like, I immediately brought him home because like he was like, our families like fit so well together. Like, we had the same upbringing, whatever. But that was wrong. So then the next thing we get to is she's back at home in Seattle after she did end up going to visit her family in Punjab. And it was like really great. She's like, I'm so glad I didn't miss it. Sam called me once, but I was like visiting with my second cousin, so I had to go back to school. So I didn't pick up, and he just never called again, which like bold.
She's like, so I guess he hates me now, and like I'm never gonna talk to him again. And I'm like, once again, you have his phone number.
Oh, but also bold of Sam to say the same thing. Like, he's like, oh, well, she didn't pick up.
No.
But again, I guess I did say that like his like persistent questioning was really fucking annoying also. So like maybe this man just can't win. When it comes to that.
No, Sam can't. Not in the face of Raj. Not in the face of first 75% Raj.
Get out of here, Raj. Well,
but so I was kind of like I kind of wanted like a description of like her meeting her family. Like I kind of wanted that.
We did,
and like we kind of like skip right over it. Like we don't really get.
But that makes sense because like what are we gonna do? Spend like she spends the same amount of time with them as she spent with Sam, and Sam says she's not gonna be there. But we got kind of like a little like if again the visuals, like if this was a movie, it would have been like a nice montage.
Yeah.
So now it's family dinner time. Jasmine like brings up Sam because Niki had told her that she was gonna tell Jasmine about Sam.
No. She was like, I'm making big changes.
She was going to tell the parents.
Sam home.
Yeah, she was going to tell the parents about Sam, and she never like told Jasmine that she wasn't going to, because Jasmine was still giving her like Jasmine's forgiven her also at this point, but like before that she was giving her the silent treatment. And Jasmine like won't let it go, so she's like forced to tell the parents like, yeah, Sam was a boy, we did break up.
Whoops.
And yeah, and then like Jasmine, her talk, like this is when Jasmine tells her that she never actually liked Gaurav.
Yeah. And she's also like, you know, this breakup sucks, but like now you know what you deserve. Like you've like, you know, like you've been in love, like you know, like what's possible in a relationship. So you know not to like settle again.
Yeah. And she's also like, me and Brian are on the rocks, which whatever, doesn't become relevant, but whatever. Next thing, so she made a friend in Dia's wedding party. I forget her name, but this girl, like they really hit it off, and she happened to be coming to visit Seattle like now. So her and Niki meet up. And while she's waiting for her at the bar, like Raj shows up, and like they talk, and Raj is like, oh, you never called me back. Like he's like flirting and like really drunk. Not really drunk, but like drunk.
Yeah.
He's like, you never called me back. Like, oh, you're playing so hard to get, whatever.
This was the point in which I was like, oh no. Yeah. Raj has some red flag. I was like, he's drunk all the time. The only 2 times that we've met him, he's been drunk.
And he's a doctor. Like he's a drunk doctor, like, as it turns out.
Whoops.
And like the
like,
persistence.
Oh, come on,
like,
Raj.
No, like, it's like the asking. Like, yeah, but Sam has that too. So then the friend shows up and they talk, and the friend is immediately like, oh, who is that guy? Like, oh, well, that kind of, I forget how she phrased it. She's like, that kind of guy, like, always has to make the first move. And Niki's like, oh, I wonder what she means by that kind of guy. And they talk about the friend.
I'm not going to ask.
Right. The friend is like, right. Like, because that would be, yeah. Anyway, the friend is like, oh, well, you seem to be doing better than Sam. Like, he's really doing bad. And Niki's like, oh, well, he could be doing bad, not because of me, like for different reasons. Who's to say?
His life kind of sucks, so like, you know.
Yeah. He's unemployed, which as we all know is the worst. Anyway. So then like Raj calls. He's like, oh, I unexpectedly have a night off from doctoring. Do you want to meet up? And she's like, yeah, sure. And like gets ready, like goes, and they have like a nice, I don't know what it is, like a drink, I guess. And then she goes to the bathroom and comes back and sees him flirting with the waitress. Like the waitress gives him her number. He accepts it. He's like touching her inner thigh. And she's like, oh, so that's what the friend meant about that kind of guy. Okay, good. And this is when she has her like big moment. She's like, wow, I assumed that Raj and my ex Gaurav would be like perfect because our parents, like they were in, you know, we were sort of set up through our like families or like similar family backgrounds. And I assumed that Sam was a player because he was in a band. Like, wow, I'm glad I figured out my pattern of behavior just in time to save myself from Raj. Like, good. And she's like, wow, Raj really wasn't joking about having sex. Like, but then for some fucking reason, she pays the bill. Like, she makes a point of that. She's like, oh, I played dumb and I paid the bill. And he was like, I'll get it next time. Like, why?
I don't know.
No, you should have.
No, let him pay.
He felt up the waitress on a date with you. Like that,
You're unemployed also.
Right.
What if you has a job and the other one doesn't?
No, but again, even if he was the unemployed one, like he
No,
felt up the
I
waitress
know.
and also just in general, like he asked for this date. Whatever.
Yeah.
Also, ladies, like
Anyway.
until there's no more orgasm gap, this should be 100% payment gap in my opinion. Anyway. Listen, I don't.
Oh, it's a fraud issue. But she goes home, she immediately tells her parents, and they're immediately like, I'm calling his parents. I'm like,
Yes.
how could he do that to you? And I was like,
what if this happened to another girl? And I'm like, listen, parent, listen, why not? Like, all I have to ask is, if not you, who? If not now, when? If not
But
this,
really, like
that.
if we're supposed to rely on the Whisper Network, like if like people like that, I mean, he's not like arrestable, but you know, like if you're supposed to rely on the Whisper Network, you gotta let the Whisper Network work. It's like it reminds me of Courtney Milan, who's a historical romance author. She wrote like a essay. She wrote like a academic essay. She's also a lawyer on Pride and Prejudice and how like the Wickham Whisper Network, like we're
Doesn't
supposed to
work.
rely on the Whisper Network, but like
Right.
the Whisper Network was like intentionally blocked.
Right.
So like, and I was like, that's what's
By-
happening. Raj is Wickham.
By who? Elizabeth?
But
or
like
Darcy,
Darcy, like Darcy didn't warn
Elizabeth
anyone.
blames herself, but yeah, Darcy doesn't.
Yeah, but
that's
also
true.
like Darcy's like, I could have done something like the
Yeah.
moment I saw him like going after people in my vicinity.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway,
that's
it's
true.
a very interesting essay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely. Basically, Dia's like, yeah, I listened to my parents. Like, yeah, I've been blaming like Jasmine this whole time, but like really I listened to my parents partly because like what would have happened if I just like made up my own mind, laid my cards on the table and I was wrong. Like if I defied them and I was wrong. And I was like, yeah, I get that. It's easier to like blame someone else for bad outcomes than like take the risk yourself. And this is when the parents like apologize. They're like, oh, we're really sorry. Like the reason we live so far from the Gurdwara is because we like picked this house because of the good school district and it was really expensive, and that's why we like we chose to do that instead of taking you guys to India. And then we just like belatedly tried to yell at you for not being like good Indian girls once you got to be teenagers, even though like we didn't really make you part of the culture. And she lets them off. She's like, there's nothing better or worse, like whatever. And I'm like, listen, you're a better person. Like
you're like, I'm still bitter.
Yeah, for less. Like honestly, we had more than they did, I feel like. Yeah, I know. She spends the next several weeks, which are like before Christmas, diving headfirst into the Christmas spirit and playing piano and holding out for her dream job. What?
Playing piano, everything from Debussy to Bach to Vanessa Carlton.
Listen, you're too good for Taylor
Swift. Listen, at least she has like some good music taste. You know what I mean? Like at least she's like a Vanessa Carlton girly.
Yes. It was probably 1,000 miles. There's also the very underrated White Houses. Another bop, true bop.
Okay, so she's living her best life. She is gonna move out, woohoo! And then it's Christmas, and her family is like, "Hey, let's go for a drive." And Jasmine and her are wearing matching reindeer pajamas, and Jasmine is like, I'm gonna go change. Why don't you go change? And she's like, no, I'm comfortable. Like, we're not gonna leave the car, right?
And she's like, and Jasmine ended up not changing too. Ha ha ha.
You know what? I appreciate Jasmine. It's like when like
the effort.
You know what I mean? You're gonna get engaged the next day, so your friend is like, let's go get our nails done.
Yeah, I saw a really good one. I don't understand why it has to be. Wait, sorry, two things. I totally understand, because if I got you reindeer pajamas, or even if we just got them jointly and like you tried to take them off mid-Christmas, like absolutely, unless we're like making a video or something. Like, listen. Two, the nails thing. Yeah, I saw like a video like a while back that I thought was really good. It was like this girl had like two friends that were both going to be getting engaged like soon. And she went to each of them and she was like, hey, listen, like let's call them like Becky and Susie. And she goes to Susie and she's like, Becky's about to get engaged. Like we should all like go get our nails done, but like keep it a secret. Yeah. Like, so, you know, to like make it seem like cool, but like it should be three of us. So it's like less suspicious. And then like tells Susie like, Becky's about to get whatever. Like,
see, I saw a totally different one in which a sister took her sister to get the nails done, and it was right before Thanksgiving, and the sister wanted to get turkeys on her nails for Thanksgiving. And she was like, I don't know how to stop this.
That would just be really funny though. Also, you could edit that. Like, come on.
Everyone in the comments was like, go tell a nail tech to tell your nail tech like in like a different language to like veto that.
But then she's like risking her tip or something though. If the sister's an asshole, but like, yeah.
I was like, frankly, that's hilarious. Like, I think that would make my engagement experience better.
Also, I want to know what nail salon.
What a gag!
Oh, absolutely. I want to know what nail salon you can go to and be like, do turkeys. Like, is that something that most nail technicians just like have on their roster? Like, amazing.
I guess. I mean, like, I guess some nail technicians, I guess, are better at like drawing. Like, a turkey's like not.
No, I guess
too like hard to draw.
Yeah, that's true. It just feels like a different like. Yeah, an art industry.
Okay, anyway. So they go back and they come back and the door is unlocked and she's like, huh, that's weird. And then there's a trail of romantic candles leading up to her bedroom. Just some might say. Yeah.
That's what they call it, yeah.
Leading up to her bedroom, which is covered in candles. And I couldn't stop thinking about how much of a fire hazard this was. But it was a cute romantic gesture that was not at her place of work. And with her family's permission, but not necessarily their present. Like,
right. Yeah. And then he's like, oh, well, I knew you were a secret romantic, so I knew you'd appreciate like a grand romantic gesture. But then like proceeds to back that up with like the least romantic speech I've ever heard. He's like, we don't know if this will work or for how long. But hey, Toots, let's give it a spin. I was like, all right, sir.
Samuel, you had like a 16-hour flight to figure this out.
Yeah. Samir, not Samuel.
Samir.
Yeah. But then we cut to like 11 months later and both of the families are on vacation in Goa, I think, or maybe they're somewhere else, but they're at a beach in India. And they're like, yeah, we actually really haven't seen each other that much over the past year.
They're like, long distance actually sucks ass.
Yeah, we are planning to move to, I think, LA together, right? And she's like, I've started my own company. I have some big clients. And also I have my favorite romance fan fiction app on my roster. Like, love that.
Good for you. Good one. And then, Sam is getting like he's getting a job on like at a record company, like on the business side, because he's been working at like in a music company in like Mumbai. And so he's like, wow, I can participate in music, like, but have health insurance. Incredible.
Yeah. He's like, I've already lived my like rock star dreams. Yeah. So then everything's good. Something we did skip is that she does go back to Romeo and Juliet, the coffee cart people. And like, I don't know why she hasn't done this before. Like she just gets in line behind Romeo. She could have been doing this the whole time and overhears their conversation that they did bang. They did finally go out the night before. Yes. And he's like, want to do it again tonight? Eh?
And they banged at night and they banged this morning before
Yeah, because Juliet was like, last night was good. This morning was even better.
And I was like, at least someone in this book is getting some.
Because
we learned, also something we skipped, that we learned that Dia is not banging her husband on the honeymoon because they're both so tired from the wedding.
No, it's because of the astrologer thing. Like that's the real reason.
No, yeah, but also like the child from the wedding. But like, I was like, is nobody orgasming in this book? But don't worry,
that wouldn't be a guarantee anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, allegedly, or she's just saying it to make him feel better. Anyway, ostensibly happy ending, and then we have the discussion question. Which I fucking love because, like, listen, why not broaden your horizons? They could be reading this in schools.
Wait, I want to check whether this was the same imprint.
Yeah, or the same like audiobook narrator somehow. Maybe there's a narrator that like just adds it in and no one notices. Because she did sound really familiar for some reason. I mean, I don't know. I always think that people sound like similar.
Oh my god!
Until I hear them like side by side, but
they are Berkeley Books. Explain.
Of course.
Explain why you keep putting discussion questions in the back of your box.
Oh my god.
But not all of them, because we've definitely read other Berkeley books before. Like, I'm pretty sure the Love Hypothesis is Berkeley. So,
really?
What's the truth? What gets discussion questions and what doesn't?
Unclear. Because, like, it's not even the sex thing. It's not even, like...
No. Who makes these decisions? Is it just, like, one editor?
They're married to like a teacher and the teacher's like, listen, make my life a lot easier if this is just printed. Yeah, I don't I got a proposition for you. Can I write it and like ask for discussion questions? We should discuss the discussion questions. Really limiting it. We have this like this whole podcast could have just been the discussion questions. Listen, all right, let's do the cat scale.
We exclusively read romance novels with discussion questions.
We maybe can make our own.
Only.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
So
none of these characters were cats.
Really low. Yeah, not
maybe
a single
Jasmine's
one.
A cat. I could see Jasmine.
I don't think so. Maybe there was one like peripheral cat mention with his like roommate that
Tipsy.
he's apparently leaving.
Yeah, he's not going to live with Tipsy anymore. So,
All right.
all right.
3,
3,
2,
2,
1,
1,
2.
1.5.
Fair enough.
We've really, like, our cat scale, the way that we like judge this is just like really gone off the rails.
I know.
Compared to like when we started. Cause like I constantly compare it to Destiny Surrender. And we gave Destiny Surrender a 2. And like we gave this one a 1.5. And Destiny Surrender is definitely more like catty than
I think
this
so. But I
one.
don't even remember. Yeah. All right, Alison. Where can they find us?
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at We Read It One Night, on Twitter at We Read It Podcast. You can check out our Redbubble store for merch. We have some exciting holiday merch, and I posted this on our story, but on Instagram. But if you I made a bunch of ugly Christmas sweater designs, and if you have a character that you would like on an ugly Christmas sweater that I didn't put there, just let us know. Email us or send us in DMs. It takes about 5 seconds for me to like put that to make that design up, because I have a handy dandy little template. So let me know and you can get your own love on a shirt. Anyway, leave us a rating and review wherever you listen.
Woohoo! Godspeed, comrades.
Godspeed.